In this video, we are going to learn about how to read the data from a table. We are going to learn about how to read a data from the table. For example, this is the table what we have created yesterday, correct? In the class, okay, in the regular session, this is the table what we have created yesterday. So now imagine I want to read the data from the created table. I have inserted 7 details. I have inserted the details of 7 employees. I have inserted the details of 7 employees in the table. Now after inserting the details of 7 employees, imagine I want to read the details from the table. In order to read the details, we use a query called a select query. Select query is the most important query. Most of the time in the interviews, questions will come from the two for the interviews where EC and EEE students face, questions will come from what? Select query itself, okay, right? So select query, as I've informed yesterday, it is one of the DML queries, okay, right? That is data manipulation language queries. So usually who will be using this? I think yesterday I specified about DDL queries. DDL queries will be preferably used by whom? Database administrator. We saw one particular DDL query called as what? Create, correct? No, right? We learned one particular database query called as what? Create, to create objects, okay? Which are all the objects we learned to create? Tables and constraints like unique, etc, etc, okay? So now today we are looking at reading queries in depth, okay? And among reading queries, okay, I will be discussing about select query, which is a data manipulation language query, okay, usually used by whom? Developers or quality analysts or data analysts, etc. Clear? Okay, so queries specific to data analysts are different. They are denormalization queries, okay? So that we will be discussing later, okay? In fact, they won't be classified as a separate language, but you have to use separate clauses, okay, right? So now let us understand the meaning of clause, why we use clauses, and what query should be used for reading the data, okay? So for reading the data, we use a query called as what? Select. Okay, so now watch this. Reading the data from the table. Reading the data within the user account. For example, I have logged into Oracle database by using the user account called as Ganesh Oracle. Okay, by using the user account called as Ganesh Oracle. Okay, so if I want to check what are all the data tables, etc, etc present in the user account, what I need to do? Select star. Star stands for what? Everything. Star stands for what? Everything. Select everything from Ganesh Oracle, but preferably we don't mention what? We don't mention the user account name. Instead, we use a keyword called as what? Tab. So select is used for what? Reading the data. So how to read all the data from the user account? We mention it as from tab. Okay, so how to read all the data from the table what we have created and what we are discussing from the table employee? How to read all the data from the table employee? So it is employee. Clear? Okay, so guys, what exactly is happening here is I am selecting all the details of the table, correct? See, I am selecting employee ID also, I am selecting name also, I am selecting salary also. I am selecting all the values inside a table, okay? So be very careful with these words. Values means what? Fields. Fields means what? Columns. What values the table should capture is mentioned in what? Columns. This table should capture employee ID. This table should capture name. This table should capture what? Salary. So what values the table should capture is mentioned in what? Columns. So now whenever I use star, all the values get displayed, or in other words, all the columns get displayed. So imagine I want to filter the columns. I want to select only 2 columns. I want to select name and salary. How to do it? Now watch this. I want to select only 2 columns like name and salary. I want to select only 2 columns, employee ID and salary. So how to select only 2 columns, right? So now watch this, employee ID and then salary. And I can interchange the order of displaying also. For example, first I can display salary, then I can display name, or then I can display employee ID. Are you understanding this? Right? I can interchange the order of displaying also. I can interchange the order of displaying also. But be very careful. This doesn't interchange the actual order in the table. What is the actual order in the table? The same thing. This doesn't interchange the actual order in the table. I can manipulate the values of a particular column by using arithmetic operators and then display the results of the then display the values in the column. Okay, I can manipulate the values of a particular column by using what? Arithmetic operators, and then display the values of the column. Like for example, imagine I want to display twice the values of the salary. Twice the values of the salary. How to display it? Salary star, that is multiplication, into 2 from employees. Okay, but this doesn't manipulate the actual value in the table. See, are you understanding this? This doesn't manipulate the actual value in the table. This doesn't alter the actual value in the table. So now there is one drawback here. When I try to display it by manipulating the value, there is one drawback here. Okay, the drawback is, imagine I want to display name and I want to display salary multiplied by 2. The drawback is, can you see the name of the column here? The name of the column looks a bit absurd, correct? Yeah, the name of the column looks a bit absurd. Okay, so I want to display meaningful names. I want to display meaningful names of the column. So now for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use duplicate names or alias names to the column. So how to give alias names? I want to display the name of the employee, but I want to give meaningful name to the column. Like column name is name, but alias name is name of employee. Actual column name is what? Select this column, space access delimiter, give this alias name to the column and then display the value. Clear? Column name is salary, multiply the values within the salary by 2, but before displaying, give an alias name as salary, okay, of employee, and display it from the table. Clear? Can you see this? Meaningful names. Okay, this is called as alias names, giving duplicate names to the column. Okay, sir, why are you giving underscore? What happens if we display it by using space? Now watch this. Let me say I'm using space. Yesterday I had shown you, right, what happens if we use space. If you use space, here space acts as what? Delimiter, correct? No, here space acts as what? Delimiter. For example, how this query works is, select is a, in case of select query, I'm going to select the column by name. I want going to give the alias name called as what? Name. Afterwards, it is expecting the next column, or it is expecting a keyword like from which table. Are you understanding this? After the alias name, it will be expecting the next column, or it will be expecting what? A keyword like from, that is from clause, to select the table, to mention the source from which it has to be selected. Okay, now watch this. Can you see this? Yeah, so because of this, what will happen if you really want? Yesterday I had shown this to you. I think I had shown this while mentioning the path of the script file, correct? No, right? So be careful with this. Okay, whenever you people want to display space, you have to enforce it within double quotes. Whenever you people want to display space, you have to enforce it within what? Double quotes. Now you are forcing to consider the space as part of the alias name. Now what will happen if you enforce it within double quotes? Here space is not considered as a delimiter, but it is considered as part of the alias name. Okay, right? So now watch this carefully. So be careful whenever you people give space, okay, in the names. Okay, so preferably we don't give space in the names. We follow what casing? Camel casing. We had explained yesterday regarding what? Camel casing. Now imagine this display all the rows. This display all the rows of the employee. I want to display the rows of the employee whose salary is less than 4,000. See, this is the actual table. I want to display the rows wherein the salary is less than 10,000. So we learned how to display all the rows, how to display all the columns and rows. All the columns and rows means star. That is all the values. ID value, name value, and salary value are selected. We learned how to filter the columns. How will you filter the columns? By mentioning the column name. How do you filter the column? By mentioning the column name, like name and salary, okay, or ID and salary, okay. And we also learned how to interchange the columns, okay, by mentioning the column names. So now what I'm interested in changing the, I'm interested in filtering the rows. Till now we learned how to filter the columns and rearrange the columns. Now I'm interested in filtering the rows. In order to filter the rows, we use where clause followed by the condition for filtering. We use where clause followed by the condition for filtering. What do you mean by condition for filtering? For example, the condition is the salary should be less than 4,000. Okay, the column value should be less than 4,000. So where clause, I'm mentioning the condition, and in order to mention the condition, we use relational operators. What do you mean by relational operators? Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, just equal to, not equal to, etc. Clear? So now watch this. So why do we use where clause? To filter the rows. How do you use where clause? By giving condition. How do you give the condition? By mentioning some operators within the condition. So which operator are we using within the condition? Relational operators or comparison operators. I am comparing the salary, less than, greater than, like that. Okay. So now watch this. So greater than 4,000. Understanding this? Right? Or equal to 4,000. Okay, or greater than equal to 4,000 or less than equal to 4,000. Getting this? Not equal to is very important. How do you say not equal to in C language? In C language or in Java language, we say not equal to by using exclamatory mark and equal to sign. Whereas in SQL, we say not equal to by saying greater than or lesser than symbol together. Okay. Now watch this. This is not equal to. Clear? So it is less than and greater than symbol together means it is not equal to. So am I filtering the rows here? Yeah. So we learned how to use select statement in order to read all the values. We learned how to filter the required values by mentioning the column names. Okay. And we also learned how to filter the rows now by using where clause, by giving condition. Okay. And how do we implement the condition? By using operators. And we learned how to use relational or comparison operators, that is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to and not equal to operators. Okay. So now imagine I want to display the range of values. For example, range of values wherein the salary is between 1,000 up to 4,000, between 1,000 and 4,000. Okay. So now watch this. I want to display these values 1,000 to 4,000. Okay. Range of values. Now watch this carefully. So for that we use range operator. Range operator is realized using the keywords between and. Okay. So range operators is realized by using the keyword between and. Okay. So between 1,000 and 4,000. But be careful. Okay. Even, sorry, I have not mentioned the column name. But be careful. Even the values mentioned in the condition will also be included. Even the values mentioned in the condition will also be included. Can you see this? 1,000 and 4,000 are also included. Not only that, I cannot mention the range in a reverse way. I cannot mention the range in a reverse way. Clear? So the keyword between should always be followed by the starting value, and the keyword and should always be followed by the ending value. Okay, you cannot reverse the values, and remember, even the values what you mention will also be included in the displayed range. Understanding this, right? Okay, so now watch this carefully. Now watch this carefully. The next requirement is I want to display the values of the employee whose salary is 1,000, 3,000 and 7,000. I want to display the details of the employee whose salary is 1,000, 3,000 and also 7,000. That is, I want to give multiple values of the same column in where condition. I want to give multiple values of the same column in where condition, where the salary is 1,000, what is that? 3,000 and what is that? 7,000. Are you understanding this? right? But I cannot give multiple values of the same column by using equal to sign. I cannot realize this using what? Equal to sign. For that I make use of one more operator called a set operator. Okay, but here the keyword is in, okay, right? So I make use of one more operator called a set operator, which is implemented by using the keyword in. Okay, so in is used to filter the rows by giving multiple values of same column. In is used to filter the rows by giving multiple values of the same column. Are you understanding this? Right? By giving multiple values of the same column. Getting this? Right? Okay. So now watch this. Are you understanding this? Now, how to give multiple values of different column? Okay. I want to get the values wherein the name is Ganesh. Okay. And the name and the salary is 4,000. I want to get the values wherein the name of the employee is Ganesh, and also I want to get the values wherein the salary is 4,000, and also I want to get the values wherein the salary is 4,000, which means I want to specify multiple values within the where condition. I want to specify multiple values within the where condition, okay, but belonging to two different columns. But belonging to what? Two different columns. Like for example, the columns are name should be Ganesh, okay, and salary should be 4,000. But unfortunately this will not display any rows. Why this will not display any rows? Because here AND is acting as logical AND operator. Okay, see, I repeat, to give multiple values of the same column we use set operator called as in. Okay, to give multiple values of the same column we use set operator, but the keyword used is in. To give multiple values of two different columns, one from name column, another from salary column, we use what keyword? And or not keywords. These are called as logical operator. Okay, be careful, this does not behave like English grammar and, it behaves like logical operator and. That is the reason no rows are selected. Why? We will be thinking, sir, name is there Ganesh, this condition is true for one of the row. Okay, right? And salary is there 4,000, this condition is also true in one of the row, but in two different rows, no. Okay, when does logical AND will work? Logical AND will work if both the inputs are high, output will be high. So this input is high in a different row, this input is high in a different row, in two different contexts. Okay, so I agree that both the input are high but not in the same row, okay, hence this AND operation will fail here. So in order to realize that, you have to use OR operator. So this input is high, output will be displayed. Then it will come over here, this input is high, even this particular output will be displayed. Are you understanding this? Right? So now watch this. Clear? So what about AND? Input should be high within the same row. Input is high, output will not be displayed. And this input is also high, only then output will be displayed. Clear? This is about and or. Be careful while using not operator because the syntax is very important. Imagine I want to display the details of the employee wherein the employee name is not equal to Ganesh. Two ways of realizing this is using relational operator not equal to. Okay, two ways of realizing this is using relational operator not equal to. Okay, so the employee name who's not equal to Ganesh is displayed. One more way of realizing this is using not, logical not operator. How does logical not operator work? I cannot say name not Ganesh. I cannot say this. Okay, logical operator negates the condition. Here Ganesh is not a condition. Okay, logical operator negates the condition. So what should be the condition? Condition should be name equal to Ganesh, and then this logical operator negates the condition if it is true. Understanding this? This syntax is very important. Okay, right? So now tell me which is better. Okay, this particular syntax is better or the second syntax is better? Obviously second syntax is better, no? Why second syntax is better? Not because it is easy to write, but look at this from performance point of view. In the first one, condition is executed and then the condition is negated and then the results are displayed. In the second one, condition is executed, results are displayed. So which is better? Okay, always the relational operators is better for not equal to. Then what is the use of not operator? What is the use of not operator? Not operator is extensively used along with null test operator. Not operator is extensively used along with null test operator. What do you mean by null test operator? Now watch this. I want to filter the rows by giving conditions. But in order to give the condition, we make use of operators. In order to give the condition, we make use of operators. Now the condition is, I want to filter the rows wherein the values are null. Wherein the values are null. Null means what? No value. Remember, 0 is also a value. Space is also a value. Null means empty, no value. 0 is also a value. Space is also a value. Null means empty. What do you mean by empty? No value. For example, here salary of Suresh, this particular slot is empty. Okay, null is not a value. It is just a token to say that slot is empty. Null is a token to say that this slot is empty. Clear? Now watch this carefully. Okay, so here the salary is not specified. It is not 0. It is not space. It is empty. What is the token to say it is empty? Null. Now I want to check who is the new employee whose salary is not decided. Based on the performance it will be decided. Okay, I want to check who is the new employee whose salary is not decided. So how to do this? Select star from employee where salary is null. So null test operator includes two keywords, just like range test operator we saw, right? Range test operators included two keywords. Which are they? Between and. Similarly, null test operator includes two keywords, which is that is and null. Okay, so that will display the rows wherein the salary is null. Null means what? It is not a value, it is a token. Clear? Now, why did we come to null test operator? In order to understand where do we use logical not extensively. Where do we use logical not extensively? Logical not extensively is used along with null test operator. In order to say is not null, logical operator is used extensively with null test operator in order to say is not null. Can you see this? Yeah. So this will give me the column with null value. Okay, the values of the column wherein the value is null, that is a token. Null is not a value, sorry, it is a token. Okay, right? So this will display the rows wherein the salary is not null, that is the salary is not empty. Clear? Okay, so last but not the least is pattern operator. Most of them call it as like operator, but it is not like operator, it is pattern operators. What do you mean by pattern operator? Now watch this. Just a small concept. Okay, the concept is, imagine I want to display the names which starts from R and followed by only 3 letters. I want to display the names which starts from R and followed by only 3 letters. That is where name is equal to, I will mention the pattern R followed by 3 letters. That letters can be anything. So underscore, underscore, underscore. Okay, but we won't use equals because equals is what? Comparison operator. Instead we use like. Like is pattern matching operator. Clear? Okay, I want to display the name where the name starts from R followed by 3 letters. Now, why it is called as pattern matching? One thing is I can mention I can frame a pattern by mentioning the number of letters. The other reason for calling it as pattern matching is I can make different patterns also. For example, starting with R followed by 3 letters but ending with A. Clear? Starting with R followed by 3 letters but ending with A, or by ending with I, or any name that starts from R. How to say any name that starts from R? Instead of using what is that? Underscore. Why do we use underscore? To specify the number of letters. Drawback of using underscore is, see, now watch this. I want to look at the names which starts with R. Drawback of using underscore is if I want to use underscore, I should specify how many letters are following it. Okay, for example, R underscore underscore underscore. R for these letters underscore 5 times, for these letter underscore 6 times. So this is the drawback of underscore. What is the drawback of underscore? I should specify the number of letters there. Okay, but whereas how to say, it should start from R. Number of letters following can be anything. Okay, it should start from R. Okay, so now watch this. Select start from employee where name should be equal to, it should start from R. That's all. Okay, right? For this we use something called as wild character. Percentage is called as wild character. Okay, right? Sorry, I should not use equal to, right? Yeah, percentage is called as wild character. What do you mean by wild character? Any number of letters. Any number of letters. Okay, now let me say, wild character need not be in the end. It can be in the beginning also. Any number of letters, but it should end with what? H. Okay, or I can use wild character and underscore as a combination in pattern matching. I can use wild character and underscore as a combination in pattern matching. That is starting from R or starting from anything. Okay, second letter should be A, last letter should be H, and between A and H any number of letters can be there. So this is a combination of letters, underscore, and wild character percentage. Can you see this? Right? Okay, and while using pattern matching operator, you should be very careful, because queries are case insensitive. Can you see it? Yeah, lowercase, uppercase. Queries are case insensitive. For example, select star from, okay, right, and employee. Select star from employee. But values inside the query are case sensitive. Values inside the query with respect to values inside the object. See, employee name is also a value inside the query, but it is the name of the object. But values inside the query, in case of values inside the object, that is in the records, are case sensitive. That is in the rows are case sensitive. What do you mean by values inside the rows are case sensitive? For example, now look at the pattern matching operator, okay, or look at the relational operator where name is equal to Ganesh. Now look at the same query where I change the case into lowercase. So queries are case insensitive, whereas values inside the rows are case sensitive. Did you understand this? Right? So let me summarize this. How do we read the details within the table? By using select query. Okay, and how do we use select query with the help of clauses? Why do we use from clause to mention the table name? Why do we use where clause to filter the rows? How do you use where clause? By giving conditions. How do you implement where clause? By giving conditions. How do you give conditions? By making use of operators. Which are all the 6 types of operators we saw? Comparison or relational operators, range test operator. In case of range test operator, between should always be followed by initial value in the range and should always be followed by final value in the range. But while displaying, it will include the beginning value and ending value. It will not just display the values only in between, it will include the beginning value and ending value. Okay, and then how to give multiple values within the same column? By using set operator. But what is the keyword? In. How to give multiple values in different columns? By using logical operators. What are the keyword? And, or, and, not. Be careful, it will not work like English grammatical and, or, and, not. It works as logical and, or, and, not. Okay, being EC and EEE students, I don't think I need to explain. Logic gates also, correct? Right? So, and then where do we use null not operator extensively? We use not operator extensively along with null test operator. To check whether it is null, we use two keywords, is and null. To check whether it is not null, we use it as is not null. Okay, so that is where we use not operator extensively. Okay, and then pattern matching, we learned about wildcard, and we learned the limitations of underscore, and we learned how to use combination of underscore letters and wildcard. Okay, and we learned that we can interchange the orders of writing, getting the details displayed, and we also learned how to give duplicate names, that is alias names, and if there is space in alias name, we have to give what? Double quotes. We have to enforce the name within what? Double quotes. Clear? So I hope you people understood this. Yeah. So thank you.